I'm gonna show you how to take your lighting from this to this using this lighting setup. This setup is simple and it looks great. So whether you have studio lights or no lights at all, I'm gonna show you how to do it. Let's get into it. So this is what my image looks like with no artificial light. As you can see, it does not look cinematic. My face is way too dark. It's blown out over here. There's no contrast anywhere. It looks terrible. But I have a few things here to help me fix that. Starting with my key lights. All right, so I'm gonna place my key light off to the side about 45 degrees from my camera, and then I'm gonna raise it up and tilt it down towards me. So you're probably saying, Colby, this does not look any better. But that's because when I was just using the window light, I had to raise my ISO to keep my face properly exposed. But now since I have this key light, I can now lower my exposure, and this is what that looks like. So this is now my key light with the window light. This looks so much better. You can see how my face is now the focal point of the image because it's the brightest and the background is now a lot darker. Something to keep in mind, if you want a very contrasty image, then you're gonna wanna move your key light more than 45 degrees off to the side of your camera. That will create more shadow on this side. If you want a more flat looking image, you're gonna wanna move your key light closer to your camera, so it's casting a more even light on both sides of your face. Another thing to keep in mind with your key light is you wanna get it as close to you as possible without getting in the shot. This will produce the softest light on your subject. By the way, this is called a 3-point lighting setup. We already have one light down, now there's only 2 more to go. The next light I'm gonna set up is my hair or rim light. Now, you can probably already tell that this window light is kind of already doing the purpose of a hair light. You know, it's lighting up my hair, separating me from the background. But the issue with natural light is it can be inconsistent. The sun can go behind clouds, come out of clouds, so the color temperature and even the brightness can be changing. So to make sure that there's a consistent light as my hair light, I will set up an artificial light. There is my hair light relative to where I'm sitting. So as you can see, that hair light is gonna be above me and behind me to the left. The next light in the 3-point lighting setup is gonna be a fill light. Now, typically I actually don't do this. A fill light is gonna light up this shadow side of my face, but honestly, I like to have that shadow there. I like a little bit of contrast. So I'm actually not gonna set up a fill light. The last thing I'm gonna look for when using artificial lights are practicals. Practicals refer to things like lamps, car headlights, signs, those type of things. The nice thing about practicals is they can often give some color to your scene, especially if it's like an orange lamp or whatever. So I'm actually gonna use an artificial light to kind of mimic a practical light to add some color to my background. So here I have the Amaran tube light, and I'm gonna set it to like a nice orange and just put it behind me, shining on the background. And this is what that looks like. There it is. That is the 3-point lighting setup using artificial lights. This looks miles better than the original image I started out with. Let's get into how to set this up using only natural lights. Okay, so I'm back to my base image here, this time with no artificial lights, but like I said, I'm gonna show you how to do the 3-point lighting system using only natural light. So we have 2 different options here. We can either use our window light as our key light, or we can bring in some reflectors. Now this is just one of those things that you put in your car to keep the sun reflected out, and this is just some white cardboard paper I bought at Walmart. These things are both well under $50, but they work great. What I'm gonna do is take my key light off my light stand and put this cardboard paper on that light stand. So now I have my reflector in the correct spot, and what that is actually doing is reflecting the light from the window back onto my face. And this allows me to lower my ISO so my face is properly exposed, but the background is not too bright. Okay, so here's what this looks like with the reflector. It looks okay, not as good as studio lights, but it gets the job done. But we have another option, and that involves moving our camera to make it so that the window can be our key light. Okay, so please don't mind the mess behind me, but this is what it looks like when I use the window as my key light. In my opinion, this looks so much better than using the reflector as your key light because this is just so much stronger, and you can create that Rembrandt triangle because you can kind of guide the light. But these reflectors are not useless even if you're doing it this way, because we can use these as either fill or a hair light, and here's how to do that. Okay, so I have my foam core paper from Walmart in my hand, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when you use it as a fill light. So here I'm going to set it kind of off on my shadow side, and you can see how much more light that's reflecting back on me. If I put it down, you can see how much more shadows were created, and if I put it back up, boom. All right, there you have it. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing because it will really help me out. If you want to watch me use this lighting setup in an actual video shoot, watch this video next.